Thursday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, off and moving here on this beautiful Thursday morning in South Louisiana. Good morning, wherever you are taking us in this morning. We appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, comment, tell everybody about what we have going on over on YouTube. We're at the Jordy Culotta Show 2.0 is where you can find us every day. Our coffee is provided by Majestic Coffee, all over social media, Majestic Coffee. Anybody we talk to on the phone lines today, which we will talk to a couple of people on the phones. We will have Rachel Baribeau inside of the undisclosed location as she is in town addressing LSU athletics. This is what she does. She changes the narrative on college campuses and has been doing it for the past couple of years and very successful. LSU has her in town right now speaking to the football team and some of the other athletic programs. We'll talk to Rachel about the message coming up here at 8:30 this morning on the Jordy Culotta Show. We'll also talk to Cole Cubelic coming up here at 8:15. Looking forward to our conversation with Cubelic, of course, from the SEC Network and ESPN, as we'll talk college football. We'll get his thoughts of the fallout from LSU and Kansas over the last couple of days. His thoughts on the SEC going into spring football, some of the storylines in which he's watching. If you got a question for Cole, anything surfaced around college football, remember, jump inside of the bunker, and it's easy to get involved with us, as you can find us on YouTube. Remember, our podcast is all over the place. We appreciate the support for the podcast, brought to you by RMB Builders, as it has been very successful here in the first month. We appreciate everybody's support on what we have going on here at the Jordy Culotta Show. Mark Slessinger is going to stop by here in 30 minutes. Coach Sless, of course, the head coach of the UNO Privateers. His UNO squad gets a nice win yesterday in the Southland Conference tournament versus Southeastern, which will set up a tilt versus Northwestern this afternoon at 5 o'clock. We'll talk to Coach Sless about his squad coaching during the pandemic. Looked like the pandemic is starting to ease some regulations in the city. We'll talk to him about what's going on in New Orleans around college basketball and everything that is March. This is a great time of the sports calendar. It's a great time of the year as St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner. Sunshine starting to come out. We will, I guess, daylight savings time is right around the corner.
Sunday?
Day's going to start getting a little longer, which I'm a fan of. I like that.
You know what I've noticed about you? Big weather guy.
Yes.
Everything. It affects your mood.
Vibes.
Good outside, yeah. It changes your whole persona.
Yes. Are you not?
Oh no, I noticed it, but you're just like the first thing you do is like peek out the window. It seems like, oh yeah, today's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, it is kind of dependent on the weather on how I feel the day's gonna go. I know. I mean, Kelly and I spent the weekend.
Oh, that looked like a blast
on the bikes, bro, in New Orleans, and I mean, we went. That's the thing I love about New Orleans, and her and I were talking about it while we were riding, is that New Orleans is one of these cities that is perceived as a big city, but really and truly, I mean, she stays, kind of uptown, and you can ride the entire city on your bike. I mean, you can get everywhere on a bike. I mean, it's easy to move around.
It's a tool around town.
And when the weather, there you go, bro. When the weather is like it was on Friday, Saturday, Sunday this past weekend, or really Saturday and Sunday. I mean, you can spend the entire day outside. I mean, you can spend the entire day doing things, whether it's riding through the park or farmer's market, or hopefully when these regulations and rules are lifted, you can get outside and start experiencing some music. I know Beauvoir Park, our friend Jay Hover over there at Beauvoir Park has got a big music festival that's kicking off today. A couple of days of celebrating what would be St. Patrick's Day weekend here and all over the place. So we will be out at Beauvoir Park at some points throughout the weekend.
Do a show there.
Yeah, we were talking about doing one there next Friday for the launch of
that place is sweet, man.
March Madness.
It's like a little commune almost.
It is.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up out there.
Hackenwood,
man. Me and Leslie Bratton.
These calloused hands.
That's right, man. My uncle Mark Culotta's Landscape started as one of the original, renters of that property with Les, because he had his warehouse where he would store all of his landscape equipment there, and that's how. Yeah, that's right. And that's how I came to know the property. And then Les has done a tremendous job of kind of developing that into a social commune, like you said. I mean, now with Building 5 over there, we were over at Building 5. Me and the Landwas were there yesterday. It's always buzzing. And it's just it's a great area of our city. And I think this weekend, I know this weekend they will be hosting a music festival that begins today. So you're starting to get the vibes back, man.
I don't know what they're gonna do Friday and Saturday. I think it's gonna be more popular than they've
Yes.
had so far. It might be like an issue.
No, well, I think they're pre-selling tickets because of that.
Oh, okay, yeah, but there's the way that place is set up, dude. You can just stroll in. I know they have one person like at the gate or what have you, but I think it's gonna be popping. That's the only thing going on that I've heard of. Everybody I've talked, people are coming from New Orleans to come here.
Yeah, and the parking is going to be their biggest issue that they run into once they cross this threshold of going to the next level. I mean, it was just kind of a little community. Bands bringing together some music. You had some families out there,
BYOB.
kids running around. I mean, it's going to turn into like a festival type atmosphere
We got
pretty
Woodstock
quick.
2.0 coming.
Which is fine with me, man. As long as the weather's right. All right, so Sless is going to be here in 20 minutes, and we're going to talk to him about what's going on with the basketball tournaments. He's over in the Southland Conference tournament. Nice win yesterday for Sless and the Privateers. Swords up for the boys as they set up a match versus Northwestern this afternoon. That'll be at 5 o'clock. As we said, Cole will be here. Rachel's in studio in the second hour, and Megan Makin Money will be here at the top of the hour, and we'll get some tidbits from her as we go into the NCAA tournament and anything that she may be watching on conference tournament weekend as far as college basketball is concerned. Watched the coaches' caravan last night as LSU coaches were out and talking. It was good to see the entire crew and a lot of the coaches speaking out as Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert did a phenomenal job of hosting that event last night. As you got to hear from Jake Peets, you got to hear from Ed Ogeron, and there's a lot of talk around the quarterbacks, right, with LSU football. And I think that's going to be the major storyline going into spring practice because, as I've said a couple of times, as healthy as that quarterback room is, and it's as healthy as I can recall, maybe even dating back to, Rohan Davey, Josh Booty, and Craig Knoll. Before that, it would probably be Jamarcus, Ryan Paralleau, Matt Flynn. Since then, you haven't had a quarterback room that's as healthy and as competitive as this one is presently, right? And a lot of talk about Miles Brennan last night. Yeah, especially from Ogeron. As Ogeron said a couple of times last night that Miles Brennan is healthy and has been leading the offense. Ogeron went on to say that he's been elite in at least 4 workout grades that they've had so far. So Ogeron very high on his senior signal caller, Brennan, to me, who feels like the odd man out.
You're gonna keep doing this, huh?
I really do. I think that he is potentially starter game 1 and out by game 3, or even in a competition. Max Johnson, to me, is the best option that LSU has right now. And I think every single one of them bring a different and a unique skill set to the offense. But when you look at Johnson's capability, he gives you more options. He gives you the option of, if the play breaks down and he's got to make a play with his feet, he can do that. He's got a strong enough arm as a freshman, which I believe in between his freshman and sophomore year will get significantly stronger to make all the throws. Now, this offense will be set more back on timing, a lot like the 2019 version was with Burrow, Brady, and that crew. So how he adapts and how whoever competitively will put their best foot forward is kind of yet to be seen in this offense. Brennan, you would think would have the upper hand because he went through a year of it. He was in the system with Brady, DJ Mangus, Joe Burrow, and saw that offense not only implemented and installed, but executed at the highest level every single day, and kind of what he put into the preparation of running that thing. But when you just look at the quarterback skill set and what the job calls for in 2021, I think on LSU's roster, Max Johnson is the best quarterback. And like I said, this room is as healthy and as competitive as it's ever been. They got 3 guys that can play at a Division I level tonight. Brennan has started. Finley has started. Johnson has started. Garrett Nussmeier's in that room as a 4-star quarterback commit and recruit out of Dallas, who comes in very highly regarded. No pressure on him to play this season because he didn't have to. But when you look at the overall room and you look at the competitive nature of it, yeah, Brennan feels like he's the guy because he's been there the longest. He feels like he's the guy because last year he was the starter. Orgeron didn't even blink, breathe, think about when he would say, Brennan's our guy, it's his time, it's now his role at LSU to be the starting quarterback. But in one season, you learn that Finley and Johnson can play at that level, and both of those guys, if developed correctly, they can be big time, in my opinion. Both of them. Finley from his strength, his arm strength and his ability to just move the ball and push the ball down the field. And Johnson more for his athleticism and his ability to throw it. And when it comes down to choosing one guy, because I am never a two-quarterback guy. I think if you got two, you don't have one. It's like a point guard in basketball. When you can't find a guy to bring it up and you keep asking your off guard to bring it up or you quasi-point guard to bring it up, you really don't have a point guard. Which, by the way, we'll get to Michael Cobble's question to Will Wade yesterday. Cops with just a softball to Willie Wade.
He launched it.
I mean, I quote tweeted and asked, that had to be a planted question, right?
Yeah, like a first day on the job question. Just
We can sit here and rag on Cobble until 10 a.m. Ain't no way he's awake. But back to the quarterback. I was surprised to see Brennan come back, quite frankly. And like I've always said around these conversations, it's not my place. It's not really my job to tell or give opinions on what these guys should do with their life as far as their decisions professionally to play at the next level. But I just thought that Brennan had put enough on film to make a decision maker at the highest level, a pro scout, say, okay, we've seen enough. He can make the throws. And when you turn on film in the NFL, I mean, the trash that is at quarterback at the National Football League. Forget the 16 through 32 starters. Think about the backups. Think about some of the third teamers that collect checks in the NFL to play quarterback. I mean, I've seen enough. Miles Brennan, you can play in that league. Your arm's strong enough. You're smart enough. You can catch on to a system. You're tough enough.
And gosh dang it, people like you.
But he can play. And I think when he looked at the LSU quarterback room, I thought, this was my thought. This was just kind of my thinking of it. When he looked at the quarterback room and saw Johnson, Finley, Nussmeier coming in, he would probably, I just thought that he would have said, all right, I'm not going back to compete again. Am I? I mean, it's going to be my fifth year here where if you talk to people around Brennan, if you know Brennan, it seems like it's always been a dream of his to be the LSU quarterback. All right, end of story. Don't listen to anybody's advice about what you want to do at the next level. If that's your thought, if that's what you want, if that's your dream, who the hell am I? Who the hell are we to tell you to go pro or you shouldn't be here? Get in there and compete, see if you can't win the job and capture your dream, man. But from a professional career standpoint and just, if I was on the advice team, if I was a part of the council, I would say, man, we don't need this. You've done enough. Don't take those hits for free. Go get in the league, man. Start collecting a check. But if you want to play quarterback for LSU and that's your dream and it's always been your dream to be the starter, then go back and compete. But I would tell you this. I don't know if you're going to win it. I don't know if you're going to be able to beat Max Johnson out when it comes down to just every single day on the field and Johnson showing his skill set in which he grew up in this spread system. He understands this spread offense. He has the skill set to run pass option, to throw run pass option. He's been running this since he's a kid. And like Orgeron said when he was looking for the next offensive minds to run that side of the ball, it was one thing to try to teach Scott Linehan and Steve Ensminger about the spread. And those guys are very qualified, smart, knowledgeable football coaches, right? And they got the concepts of the spread and were able to teach it. But it's different when you go out and you get somebody that grew up in the spread, understands the spread, has only ever talked the spread, has seen the spread offense evolve and develop a lot like a guy like Joe Brady, like DJ Mangus, who's been in Brady's back pocket since they played together at William and Mary. Then you add a mind like Jake Peets, who's understanded that side and that development and that portion of offensive football. And now you have these guys that are kind of all understand that language, that lingo, how that operates. And you've got them around people who have been running that system forever. Guys like Max Johnson, TJ Finley to a degree, Garrett Nussmeier. Miles Brennan to me is an NFL quarterback. A backup, but he's a guy that can collect a check at the highest level to play professional football. On LSU's roster, I don't think he's the best option. Going into spring and going into the fall. He may prove me wrong in the sense of he's a leader, he's older, he's veteran, he's determined, and he may win the job. He's good enough to do it. I just say, I think going into it, my bet would be on Johnson.
Right, but if everything that you say about Miles Brennan, him being able to be an NFL backup quarterback, what's the harm in him coming back? If he gets benched, he still has the same tape out there.
No, I was talking about for him personally.
Oh, yeah, I understand that, but
there's no harm in him coming back for LSU. I mean, you can't have enough quarterbacks.
No, I'm even saying personally. If he goes out there and he starts UCLA, and then we have 3 cupcakes after that, and then if you say you bench him for SEC play, he still has the same tape that he put out last year. So I don't think it hurts his NFL stock. I think he can only improve it.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't hurt his NFL stock. My argument would be, why come back and take these hits for free when you can go start getting paid? Start the clock.
Well,
right?
but I'm saying you could start the clock with a way different paycheck if you come out and throw 40 tutties and 8 interceptions.
He absolutely could.
So I think he's got nothing but upside.
There's a risk reward to it. You know what I mean?
Get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the injury is the risk, but I think the reward is, like you say, you come in, you win the job, you go out, and you have a great senior season.
You ball out.
I mean,
you collect a couple of awards, put up a 10-win season, and then you go third round instead of 6th.
Jeff Marcon, Burrow was not a spread quarterback, but his accuracy was all-world great. I don't know, Jeff. I mean,
disagree. Hard disagree.
Burrow was people underestimated his running ability, his ability to be an athlete. You know, I mean, he was an all-state basketball player. That doesn't mean he was a spread offensive quarterback, but I mean, think about some of the big plays he made. The 2 years he was at LSU, look up his film at Athens High School. I mean, a lot of that stuff's RPO. You know, I mean, a lot of that stuff's, big runs. I mean, think about the Alabama third down pickup, the Auburn touchdown run.
Clemson.
Yeah.
Going into the half.
Brandon Hollingsworth, 3 full games starting at LSU, 1 and 2 as a starter, season-ending injury. No way he gets drafted. I'm normally with you, Jordy, but can't go there with you on this one. I'm not saying he gets drafted. I'm just saying he gets a chance, and once he catches on and gets a chance, I think he makes a team. Because I've seen the guys that collect checks in the NFL to not only start, to be backups. And Brennan is better than one of the 32 backups in that league, in my opinion, just because of his arm strength.
He's top 70 in the world throwing the football.
So, I mean, I think that Brennan is good enough to be on an NFL roster this season. I'm not saying that he's a high draft pick and that he's going to set the world on fire. I just say, why come back, take these hits for free when you look at the room and you think to yourself, man, am I going to have to go in there and compete for this? Usually when you're in your 5th year as a senior quarterback, it's your gig. But it's your job. You're walking back into it, and if he doesn't get hurt, who knows what's happened last season, but that's how it is now, and Johnson kind of stepped up and said, hey, I'm a true player here. I mean, I can run this offense. So, people are disagreeing with me on Burrow. Burrow ran nothing but Burrow ran nothing but spread in high school and at Ohio State. LOL, yeah, I'm not sure where that Burrow narrative came from. I guess they're talking about Burrow not being a spread quarterback because, yeah, I mean, I think he is. Brandon Hollingsworth, the best option for him, in my opinion, would have been to transfer to somewhere to get a guaranteed starting spot. I don't disagree with that. And I don't know if that's out of the question at this point. I don't know if one of these guys can still look at an option or look around after spring and say, you know what? Let me go play. With the rule that's in place right now, with the no hardship and the transfer rule and the one season, I mean, why not, just go see if you can't get into a spot and get a chance and an opportunity to go start playing immediately. It's interesting, but it was cool to hear the coaches speaking last night on the Tiger Caravan, the coaches caravan that was on social media, and there was a lot of discussion about Myles Brennan, both from Jake Peetz and Ed Ogeron. A lot of it about his health, about his leadership qualities in the offseason. But tell me, what did you learn about Myles Brennan last night that you didn't already know and heard from his coaches from the last 4 years he's been on campus? I mean, Brennan's always been a leader. He's always been doing the right thing. He's always been prepared. When you look back at Brennan's time, if it stopped today, it's just been a wild ass ride from the Matt Canada situation. Do you remember that Myles Brennan took snaps at Alabama as a true freshman?
And people were excited.
He was
and winged it around.
True freshman. Pull up the film of that game. He looks like a freshman in high school.
Not anymore.
Compared to where he is today. I know a lot of people are talking about his weight and what he looks like, and he looks chunky, he looks big, he looks fat, he looks overweight, but that injury has kept him pretty much immobile for the last year. Think about your pandemic experience without having a pulled abdomen. He's got to work this thing off. But he's 22 years old. He's out in the hot sun. He's going through Moffitt's fourth quarter program. He's about to go through spring drills. He's going to shed the weight. But think about the ride that Brennan has been on since he's been here. From playing as a freshman at Alabama to redshirting as a sophomore to offensive coordinator turnover to injuries to being named the starter to now high-profile quarterbacks coming into the program, which LSU has not really experienced over the last decade at a consistent rate. But when you look at the line of quarterbacks coming in, it kind of starts now with Nussmeier, or it started with Johnson and Finley. All while Brennan here has been on campus. It's just been a crazy ride for Brennan, a guy that was recruited and thought of to be, at this point, a record setter at LSU, right? Think back to his recruitment at Stanislaus. Cam Cameron and Les Miles recruited Myles Brennan. To give you an idea of how just long ago that was.
Feels like he's been here in dog years.
Brandon Dixon, he's been here for 7 damn years. Rusty Leger, I think Brennan's gone by the end of spring. I don't disagree with that. I think that there's going to be one, if not multiple, that are gone by fall. Quarterbacks. When you talk about Finley, Johnson, Brennan, Nussmeier's in the fold. He's safe. He's not going anywhere. But I agree. I think that one of them for sure that we just talked about going into spring that LSU has access to will not be available when spring football starts. When fall camp starts.
So if you had to bet, you would put your money on Myles Brennan to transfer out? If one person leaves?
If one person leaves, I think at this point, I'm still saying it's TJ Finley.
That's what I was going to say.
I still say it's TJ Finley because I think Finley's got more, he's just got more time and he will see that, he can go somewhere and play immediately. I think that would be a very tough decision for Brennan to make with all that he has put down at LSU and the commitment that he has made to not only the program but the university. But, at some point it does come to, I got to put some film out there. I got to be, I got to go play. And I don't want to contradict myself because I do believe that he has put enough film out there for general managers and scouts to see that, look, he passes the early tests.
The eyeball test.
The eyeball test. And, he can make the throws. He's tough. He's strong. He played at an SEC level. But yeah, I would not be shocked if Brennan was not here in the fall. I wouldn't be shocked if he wasn't here.
I think he's just pot committed to LSU, and at this point, he's going to ride it out.
And I can buy that theory.
Yeah.
I can buy that theory. Daily, we're brought to you by Elevate Treatment Center. Elevate Treatment and Legacy Center is located right here in Baton Rouge off of Jefferson Highway and is dedicated to treating patients who are battling both drug and alcohol addiction. Their goal over at Elevate Treatment and Legacy Center is to guide you in your steps towards recovery and help you achieve and maintain sobriety. They're a treatment center based in Baton Rouge. They provide treatment of addiction disorders, behavioral illnesses in adults, and they help in medically assisting detox that's offered to ensure the safety and well who are coming off of their addiction. Learn more about Elevate Treatment on the Elevate Treatment Center online at Elevate, it's ELEV, the number 8, treatment.com. So elevatetreatment.com. If you want to get in touch with what they have going on over there, stop by. Very cool and progressive ways that they're helping addiction out over at Elevate Treatment and Legacy Center right here in Baton Rouge. If you, a family member, a friend is battling addiction, get in touch with Elevate Treatment Center. It's at ELEV 8, the number 8, treatment.com to get in touch with Elevate Treatment and Legacy Center located right here in Baton Rouge off of Jefferson Highway. When we come back, we'll talk some basketball as Coach Mark Slessinger of the UNO Privateers got a nice win in the Southland Conference tournament yesterday versus Southeastern, which will set up a game versus Northwestern this afternoon at 5 o'clock. This is the best time of year, in my opinion, right? I mean, they got basketball games starting at 10 o'clock this morning for conference championships, for conference tournaments all over the country. This is as good as it gets when there's sunshine outside, there's basketball on all day. The weather's great, Lizzie.
It's unbelievable.
The weather's great, man. So we will talk to Coach Sless about March, how he feels about his group heading into another matchup today in the Southland Conference. Come back with us. The Jordy Culotta Show, presented and driven every day by Go Chevrolet. Hey, you know it's no secret what we got going over here at the Jordy Culotta Show. We're trying to disrupt how media and advertising moves forward. My friend of over 35 years, Barrett Blondo, is doing the same thing for real estate with his new company, Falaya. I met with him in his own personal undisclosed location, and I got to see firsthand what Falaya has been doing and what he's been working on. It blew my mind, man. They are putting all the tools once reserved for professionals right in the hands of the homeowner. It's basically for sale by owner on steroids. For more information, give my guy Barrett Blondo a call today at 225-939-6153 or visit him at Falaya. That's FALAYA.com for more info. Barrett Blondo over at Falaya.com. Changing the game in real estate. Every time we talk to LSU head basketball coach Will Wade here on the Jordy Culotta Show, it's brought to you by Phil's Oyster Bar. Some exciting new things coming up at Phil's here during the Lenten season, including featuring new seafood specials every Friday, in addition to the seafood-filled menu over there. And they're offering up brunch right now on Saturday and Sundays, which will have bottomless mimosas. Don't forget Monday night 50-cent oysters and $2 draft beers. All over at Phil's Oyster Bar. Check them out. They're online at philsoysterbar.com, but they're located in the Southdown Shopping Center, a staple here in Baton Rouge for a long time. Go tell Anthony Piazza and the crew hello. Phil's Oyster Bar. Hey, if you're in the market for a custom home, get in touch with our friend Rhett Bourgeois over at RMB Builders. They're online at rmb-builders, and Rhett can do just about anything you need around the house. He can build you a new one. He can repair the one you're in. He can remodel. If you need commercial construction help, he's licensed for commercial as well. He can handle an office renovation, building maintenance. Check out everything. It's online at rmb-builders.com. He's on social media, Instagram and Facebook. You can find him at the handle at RMB Builders LLC. But the website is fantastic. Check him out, rmb-builders.com. All right, welcome back in here to the Jordy Culotta Show, presented every day by Go Chevrolet. Stop in and see Lee Carney, Nick Richard, and the crew down there in LaPlace, Louisiana. They can help you out. Good to see Lee in the undisclosed location on Wednesday. Remember, if you miss any of our shows, you can always go back for a podcast. You can catch them anywhere that you catch your podcast. You can also go back to YouTube onto the Jordy Culotta Show 2.0 and check out anything that you may have missed. You want to check out Coach Mark Schlesinger's Privateers team, as they might be one of the hottest teams in the country, as they won their 4th consecutive game. They won 6 of their last 7, as they are the number 5 seed in the Southland Conference tournament, and they destroyed Southeastern last night with a huge win as the Privateers are moving on. They had 5 players in double figures. They were led by St. Hilaire. Derek St. Hilaire had 20 for Coach Sless and the crew, as they set up a tilt versus his former squad, Northwestern State, this afternoon at 5 o'clock, as UNO can advance with a win versus the Demons coming up at 5 o'clock this afternoon. Coach Sless checks in with us this morning from the Southland Conference Tournament. Coach, good morning. Nice win yesterday. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Glad to be on 2.0. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Good to have you here. I called you one of the hottest teams in the con. Watched you play. Just kept up with your numbers the last couple of weeks here. You got to like where your team's trending in March.
You know, they played incredibly well. We had an unfortunate COVID pause February 1st that took us out for 2 weeks, and since then we've came back and have played extremely well. We've played, ended up with the cancellations and everything. We ended up playing 6 games in 12 days to finish the season, and our only loss was a heartbreaking overtime loss to Nichols. We had a 6-point lead, and with a minute to play, and I coached our way into overtime and ended up dropping it. So it was unfortunate, but that's the team that ended up winning our league. And you know, if we're lucky enough to survive today, then we'll get them again on Friday. So it's exciting time. The guys are playing at a high level. They're being extremely unselfish and playing so hard. It's been a joy to watch and a joy to coach them.
Yesterday, it seemed like your defensive effort was the difference, especially in the second half, as you just clamped the Lions. What has it been over this stretch that seems like you guys, or has you guys playing with so much confidence?
You know, we did some stuff, and this sounds crazy, but, you know, I scheduled some stuff and some games purposefully in the non-conference, some back-to-backs. One of them was going to be at Lafayette, LSU. LSU ended up getting canceled, but a lot of it was on short turn, short prep, just kind of thinking ahead for we knew how much this tournament was going to weigh. There was probably only going to be one conference tournament one postseason tournament we could get in, that's the NCAA tournament. So we knew that everything had to lead to this. And then, you know, when we went into that 6-game and 12-day stretch, it ended up being basically play one day prep. And so the guys have been, we've been able to kind of coach them and train them up on this short-term preparation piece. And they've been, you know, consuming it very well. And we put it in some ways, I think, a little bit different presentation ways for them. That's been helpful. And they've been able to lock in and really take the 3 or 4 pieces that we think are the most important and really take those and own them and apply them into the games. And I think that was last night's success was really a result of that, of how well they locked in and were able to concentrate and carry over the pieces that we covered in the scout in preparation.
I mentioned your defense. You guys shot at 69% in the second half yesterday, stayed up as many as 20 throughout that second half victory versus Southeastern yesterday. You and I were scheduled to eat lunch. We went ahead and ate lunch on the day that you were scheduled to play LSU in Baton Rouge, and it was called off during, I believe, your shoot-around due to the COVID regulations that were in place at that time. Can you take me through a college basketball season and what it has been like for you the last 365 days to coach your squad? Because as regulations and rules feels like they're easing around not only the country and our state, they still seem to be pretty in place in New Orleans. So what has it been like for Coach Sless and the Privateers and just trying to compete this season?
It's been extremely interesting, to say the least. I think that the toll that everyone's gone through different trials and tribulations. The part that I think that I'll touch the most on is just the sacrifice of what a different college life is like, especially in the world's greatest city like New Orleans. Where a guy comes to school there, and a lot of it is to experience the city, to be part of our culture, part of our community, and all that's taken away and gone for reasons, for very, very valid reasons. But a lot of our guys' life has been in their dorm room, just their single dorm room. When we were in quarantine from February 1 until really the 11th or 12th, they didn't come out of their rooms. And so you think about just getting food dropped off to your door. It's a different life, and it's a different sacrifice, all with the end goal of getting to this week. So much leads up to getting to this week that it's really interesting and difficult to put total in perspective everything that's happened. And I think guys are learning to just go with the flow. I think pivot is probably the most overused adjective that we've heard in this pandemic. But in reality, you've got to be flexible, and you've got to be able to change, but yet stay focused on your end goals and end game. So instead of a shoot around this morning, we have to go test at 9:30. They all have to go and get tested, and so it's all a different routine, and it's all a different thing. But you get to where it's just part of the daily routine of the new normal. The thing that I think we missed the most, and we talked about it a little bit with the team, because the way our hotel is set up here, we've had a ballroom where we can space tables out, and so we've kind of had quote unquote a team meal or two, where the food comes in, the guys can pick it up, and usually they go to the room. But it was weird yesterday where the tables were spread out, but they all just wanted to stay and talk and laugh. And I think people forget just the simple thing of us being able to have a team meal. We have not sat down at a restaurant the entire year and had a team meal where we're all at one table, we're all laughing. And, we're a group where, when we get off to go eat, everyone has to leave their phones. You can't take the phone into the restaurant with you because I want them to talk. I want them to interact. I want them to be with each other. And just that one little thing that you always took for granted, man, I miss it. Man, I miss hearing the laughter. I miss hearing the jokes. I miss hearing everything. And that's a big piece of who we are. I've always said teams that eat together and laugh together generally win together. And so that's something that I definitely miss.
Privateers right now rolling as they're winners of 4 in a row. As last night they got over Southeastern and set up a matchup versus Northwestern this afternoon at 5:00. Damian Rosser was a second team All-Southern Conference for you. I thought he was probably snubbed there on the first team because when you look at the stats, he's top 5 in scoring, rebounding, field goal percentage, and double-doubles. But, Coach, you look at the stat line for you night in, night out, and you're getting a pretty consistent amount of production from at least your top 4. How do you like the makeup of your group right now, especially in March? I mean, every coach wants their team playing right at the right time, and it seems like your group is gassed up for this run.
It's been fun to see these guys develop, and I think we've got really a three-headed monster with Damian, who is the equivalent of our Taysom Hill, who can play everything from point guard to center. Troy Green from Boss and Prep at East St. John, is leading their team in scoring right now, and I think he's one of the most dominant guards in our league. And Derek St. Hilaire, was in the mix and should have been for newcomer of the year as a graduate transfer from Jacksonville State. And for most of league play, Derek shot 50% from three. So really, instead, sometimes with some of our other teams, a lot of pressure fell on one guy to deliver every night. We got 3 guys that can deliver. And if one's not particularly having his best night, we're able to pick up the slack and make stuff happen. So I think they're playing well, and it's been a lot of fun to just to see them grow and develop and kind of get through the bumps and bruises of growing. We're playing a little bit faster. We've got the highest tempo in our league offensively, and top, and I think 20th in the country in the last analytical deep dive we went into. So it just took us a little bit to get used to that and get used to adjusting to playing that fast from where we were.
It's a 5-4 matchup this afternoon at 5 o'clock between you and Northwestern. When you get to this time in the schedule, you usually face the team multiple times. What's the challenge, and how do you guys prepare for the 5 o'clock tip?
Well, it's amazing. So we played Southeastern last night, but we played them on Saturday. That was our last game. We played Northwestern last Wednesday. So in Nichols we played them like the Saturday before. So all three teams that we played recently, the scouts are fresh for all of us. The guys have a clear idea of personnel. But Coach Mike is the all-time winningest college coach in Louisiana for a reason. And we know each other extremely well. Obviously, we haven't been blessed to work there for 11 years. So it'll be a great game with great familiarity, and it should be a good one.
At Coach Sless on Twitter is where you follow our guy. If you want to follow UNO basketball, you can hit them on Twitter at Privateers MBB. They're all over the place. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Make sure you subscribe. They also have a YouTube channel that you can keep up with at Privateer Athletics as UNO basketball and Coach Sless rolling into March with a matchup this afternoon versus Northwestern in the Southland Conferences. Privateers, one of the hottest teams in the country. Coach, it's great to hear from you. Thank you for the time on game day. We got to get you inside the studio once you get past the season, and I look forward to catching up soon.
Thanks so much. Congratulations. Later.
Thank you, Coach. There is Mark Slessinger checking in this morning from the Southland Conference tournament as the Privateers look to stay hot versus Northwestern this afternoon, a place that Coach Sliss spent over a decade as the assistant coach for the Demons, as they will match up this afternoon at 5 o'clock. So appreciate his time. LSU basketball is waiting on the winner of South Carolina and Ole Miss. The SEC tournament got kicked off last night in Nashville. There will be a day full of games today in Nashville with the Southeastern Conference tournament, and LSU will be waiting on the winner of South Carolina and Ole Miss. That game will happen later this afternoon, and then LSU will tip off game one of their tournament run tomorrow night. They'll have the late game on Friday versus the winner of either Ole Miss or South Carolina. Last night for LSU baseball, Tigers were able to pull one out 5-0 over UNO, over Blake Dean's Privateers baseball squad, as right-hander Will Helmers fired 5 shutout innings on Wednesday night for the LSU Tigers as they got the 5-0 win. Trey Morgan was in at first base last night, and designated hitter Cade Beloso. Both those guys combined for 4 ribbies as LSU got the win 5-0. Tigers going to be back in action tomorrow night at the Box versus UT San Antonio. LSU baseball coach Paul Maneri gave the updates on Wednesday. Tigers were originally scheduled to play Baylor this weekend at the Box, but some concerns with travel in Baylor's program has scheduled a series that will not happen. Instead of facing Baylor, LSU is going to play UT San Antonio on Saturday. Tigers will meet Texas San Antonio on Saturday, Friday, and then again on Sunday. All 3 of the games are going to be here in Baton Rouge this weekend, as the Baylor series and the Baylor games not going to happen at the Box. But last night, Trey Morgan, the true freshman, the dynamic freshman for LSU, was 2 for 4 at the plate. He smashed a triple, hit 2 ribby, had knocked in 2 runs, scored 2 runs as the Tigers were able to get the win 5-0 last night. Will Helmers, as we said, looked nice in his 5 shutout innings of work, allowing just 4 hits. Did give up a walk, but struck out 7 last night in his 73-pitch outing as the true freshman last night got career highs in both strikeouts and pitches in his just early career here, his early start to his freshman season here at LSU. Tigers are back on the diamond on Friday versus Texas San Antonio. Okay, looking forward to the second hour as coming up here. Rachel Baribeau will be in studio with us at 8:30. We'll start off the second hour with Megan Makin Money, as Megan will be here talking a little bit about conference tournaments. Remember, she was the one that gave us Illinois play a couple of weeks back.
Coach, I'm on it.
That has turned into the hottest team in the country.
Yeah, right after she said it.
I mean, they beat in 1 week Michigan and Ohio State on the road.
Yep, she's been cashing those tickets too. She'll let you know about it.
Yes, so Illinois has been one of Megan's plays, and she'll be here in a couple of minutes giving us something to look out for here in March as we continue to pay attention to what's going on around conference tournaments. To me, this is as good as it gets on the sports calendar when you've got college basketball moving, and you're starting to move into some of the great golf tournaments as the Masters will be gearing up here in April. The off season for the NFL with the draft and the combine, college baseball starting to get into full swing, and it's all built around the sunshine, Lizzie.
That's right.
All built around the sunshine.
Daylight savings. How did I not know?
That's exactly right.
Got the players starting today, too.
That's right. Edward Jones brings you the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, you can find Edward Jones and Daniel Newman, our friend out in central Louisiana, as he's easy to find next to Stabs, as he's at Magnolia Square Drive right there in central Louisiana. You can call him. Here is his contact number. It's a 225 area code, 261-8262. But you could also email him at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. That's daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's handling our 401k. He promised he'd make it easy, and it's been simple, man. I got the app. It's easy to keep up what's going on, whether it's the investments or where the money is, where it's going. And as we tell you, if you work in the plants, if you work at Dow, if you work at Exxon, any of the plants here, remember Daniel can help you out. Very well versed in the financial packages, whether it is your 401k, your Social Security, how your finances are set up post, once the job and you retire, once you step away, anything that happens to you from a financial standpoint, let Daniel Newman help you out over at Edward Jones, as he can help you with make sense of investing, as they say over there at Edward Jones. Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com. NBA second half of the season gets going tonight as the Pelicans are back in action. They'll be taking on Anthony Edwards, the number one pick, Naz Reid, and the Minnesota Timberwolves, as the Pelicans get back to work here for the second half of the NBA season. When we come back, we will close out hour one. We will set you up for hour two, and we will keep it moving here on the Jordy Culotta Show, daily driven by Go Chevrolet. Remember, online at GEAUXChevrolet.com to get in touch with Lee Carney and Nick Richard and the great crew down there in LaPlace, Louisiana. We'll be right back here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Every time we talk to LSU head basketball coach Will Wade here on the Jordy Culotta Show, it's brought to you by Phil's Oyster Bar. Some exciting new things coming up at Phil's here during the Lenten season, including featuring new seafood specials every Friday, in addition to the seafood-filled menu over there. And they're offering up brunch right now on Saturday and Sundays, which will have bottomless mimosas. Don't forget Monday night 50-cent oysters and $2 draft beers, all over at Phil's Oyster Bar. Check them out. They're online at philsoysterbar.com, but they're located in the South Downs Shopping Center, a staple here in Baton Rouge for a long time. Go tell Anthony Piazza and the crew hello. Phil's Oyster Bar. Hey, if you're in the market for a custom home, get in touch with our friend Rhett Bourgeois over at RMB Builders. They're online at RMB-Builders, and Rhett can do just about anything you need around the house. He can build you a new one. He can repair the one you're in. He can remodel. If you need commercial construction help, he's licensed for commercial as well. He can handle an office renovation, building maintenance. Check out everything. It's online at rmb-builders.com. He's on social media, Instagram and Facebook. You can find him at the handle at RMB Builders LLC. But the website is fantastic. Check him out, rmb-builders.com. Hey, you know it's no secret what we got going over here at the Jordy Culotta Show. We're trying to disrupt how media and advertising moves forward. My friend of over 35 years, Barrett Blondo, is doing the same thing for real estate with his new company, Falaya. I met with him in his own personal undisclosed location, and I got to see firsthand what Falaya has been doing and what he's been working on. It blew my mind, man. They are putting all the tools once reserved for professionals right in the hands of the homeowner. It's basically for sale by owner on steroids. For more information, give my guy Barrett Blondo a call today at 225-939-6153 or visit him at Falaya. That's FALAYA.com for more info. Barrett Blondo over at Falaya.com. Changing the game in real estate. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, presented every day by Go Chevrolet. Remember, our podcast is always easily brought back to you and found if you want to find and subscribe on Apple, on Spotify, on Amazon, on Podbean, anywhere where you can get your podcast. You can check out the Jordy Culotta Show, presented by Go Chevrolet, and that always the podcast is brought to you by RMB Builders. As Rhett Bourgeois sent his crew over here, new lights in the studio. Can you tell? If you're watching, let us know on YouTube if it looks different from a couple of days and shows past, as we got some new lighting in here in the studio. Shout out to Chris Allen and his crew for hooking us up with the lights. We got some track lighting in here, and then Rhett sent his crew over here to get us set up yesterday. Jump inside of the bunker. If you've got a question for us, we will ask the Jordy Culotta Show. Just me and Lizzie this morning. Pretty quiet around the studio, around the undisclosed location.
Better than when you had the interns in here and you had a little claustrophobia, which I didn't even know was real.
It's real.
I've never seen it happen to somebody. Can't even ride an elevator, this guy.
Can't ride an elevator. Can't sit can't sit against the window in the plane. Definitely can't sit in the middle on the plane. I got to have a way out of everything. Like I said, I don't ride on elevators.
Door's open right now.
Door's open. Feel a little claustrophobic, man. It was a little tight in here. The new lights.
They're bright, guys.
They are bright. They are bright.
We'll work on this. We'll get it. I'm sure it looks good on camera.
It does. Matt Malden says wood paneling looks like it's in HD with the new lights.
Oh, that's because
we'll take it.
Come get a taste.
We will take it. So ask the Jordy Culotta Show.
I mean, always, dude. What do you do?
I don't know.
What is it?
I don't know.
Just Two Guys 2.0.
It's that season. It's that season.
Oh, weather's not nice enough.
It's the weather.
It's pollen season.
Remember, we appreciate your subscriptions over at YouTube. Share the post, like the post, comment on the post, and we appreciate everybody for subscribing, getting notified, keeping up with us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Looks like the jigs run out for Jeff Long and Les Miles.
You hate to see it.
Sheesh. The racket that these two have been putting on universities across the country for the last decade plus has finally come to an end, as Jeff Long lost his job on Thursday, as Kansas is moving on from the embattled athletics director.
That's a word for him.
In Jeff Long. In a statement, Long said he and Kansas Chancellor Dr. Douglas Gerard met on Tuesday night and agreed that it was in the best interest of the KU student athletes and the program that Long stepped down as athletic director. Long said he leaves KU with profound confidence that I have always acted in the best interest of Kansas athletics. Sure, Jeff, get the hell out of here, you fraud. Long also added in a statement that KU student athletes have always been the priority, and this decision today is based on that very premise. It is clear that my continued service as the director of athletics would only serve as a distraction to the nearly 500 incredible men and women in our athletics department, as well as the outstanding coaches and staff who have supported them. So Jeff Long is out after a couple of years on the job. Remember, back in 2018, this started embarrassingly for Jeff Long, as one of his first orders of business was, when he got on the job, was to fire David Beatty, who was the head coach at the time, without giving him a true chance and opportunity to interview and open up the interview process. Beatty then sued for wrongful termination and ended up winning the case. Long was trying to fight that Kansas did not have to pay the buyout to David Beatty after the decision that Long made to move Beatty out of that position as the interim head coach. After that decision, Kansas was not only stuck with paying the buyout, they had to pay Beatty's legal fees too.
Oh.
So it wasn't a nice start for Jeff Long and his tenure as athletics director at Kansas. You know why he made that decision to get rid of Beatty without even really going through the process of seeing where the program was, where it sat, and seeing if he was the best candidate at the time to keep that program moving forward? He did it because he was doing his friend a favor in Les Miles, who had been out of coaching for nearly 3 seasons. And without interviewing anyone, without interviewing anybody else, just extends a job to Miles, paying this bum nearly $3 million a year. 2 seasons on the job for Miles, 3 wins. 3-18.
Amelia win, dude.
After that, after those 2 seasons in which you illegally go out of your way to get your boy a job, now you're out of work. Because not only what you did at Kansas, this dates back to what you guys, both of you, have been doing for nearly a decade. We gave the example on Monday when LSU got into bed with Les Miles for that godforsaken contract with the $15 million buyout. All of that was spurred by Jeff Long and Les Miles. 2 backroom buddies. 2 frat guys. 2 old Michigan Yankees hanging out, dude.
Okay, then. I got you a job over here in Kansas.
You want more money?
We can do that.
How about I just say I'm going to hire you at Arkansas, and then you can take a leave at LSU to the cleaners? Yeah, that sounds good. The hat. The family man. What a fraud. What a fraud.
I mean, it's a little embarrassing on our part to fall for that, the old hook, line, and sinker. Like, did we not know that they're best friends and this offer's coming from one of his, guys he's clearly texting on? I mean, he doesn't have a burner phone. We know that. But one of the people that he's obviously in communication with is like, hey, think you could swindle me a couple more mil? Yeah, man. Like, get it done
absolutely.
in the offseason.
Hey, man, Miles was probably concerned about what was really being felt around him, around the program. Like Aliva said in 13, public opinion is going to be on our side. You're going to win the court of public approval by moving this guy. I mean, Miles could probably feel, that type of angst around him, and tried to throw a trump card.
Do you think he did? I think he was.
No doubt he did.
I thought he was
man.
ignorant to it. It seems like he was just ignorant. Like, ignorance is bliss in his regard. He didn't care. I'm sure he heard it, but I don't think it bothered him.
Oh, I don't think it bothered him, but I think he saw it as a threat that he might be moved. And he wanted some type of leverage. He wanted some type of power. He wanted some type of negotiating chip. Right. Where, I mean, if you remember, that Arkansas proposal was like, what? Where is this coming from? I mean, this guy couldn't even manage the clock.
Can't coach his way off a paper bag,
Back-to-back years. I mean, what am I missing with this guy? I mean, how many games that should have been blowouts were you in that felt close because this guy could not get out of his team's way? Did more to mess up positions than he did to develop guys while they were on campus. I mean, think about the setback in offense and quarterback play that LSU experienced under this guy, under Les Miles. Chris Jarrell, I don't blame Jeff and Les. Get that money. I'm with you too. I've been saying that. Like the joke is on Oliva. I mean, for Oliva to send that message, to send that email in 2013 saying you got calls in the fire. Why'd you extend him? Why did you sign him to the contract? Why did you fall for the bait? I mean, Long and Miles played Oliva more than anybody. I mean, think about this at night. Les Miles took nearly $50 million from the state of Louisiana. $50 million. The guy could not complete a sentence in front of a microphone. I mean, all the while, he's trying to help student workers' careers after they get out of by taking them around on joy rides around campus, post-sunset, asking if they should rent a hotel room or stop by the apartment that's conveniently located right here on campus.
Would you like some voodoo barbecue?
Gross, man.
A little extra barbecue sauce.
Disgusting. Kiss. I mean, Jeff Long.
Could you imagine?
Miles, get the hell out of here.
Could you imagine being in that coach's room, like after watching an LSU game, like you come back on Sunday, like what the hell were we doing?
Ugh.
And he's just in there like, gotta win, boys.
Ugh.
Like, this is bad. I mean, we got so used to it that it was like, okay, I guess this is the way we're gonna win games.
Yeah, I mean,
because it was a joke.
Well, you were locked into that contract. I mean, what were you gonna do? I mean, you were stuck. It was
run the ball 50 times a game.
God.
While everybody else is just flying past you.
Just run them into the ground. No quarterback play.
Disgusting. Makes me mad.
Hello.
Good morning. How are you? We're live.
I am wonderful. How are y'all?
We're doing good. It's just me and Lloyd this morning as people are traveling. They're taking this weather. They're seeing the weather outside, and they're finally starting to celebrate. How are we feeling down there in Lafayette? Is the weather nice?
Oh, yeah. It is beautiful today. I would say it makes me want to drink a beer, but I think I might have done too many of those yesterday.
Yeah, well, I mean, is it because of you celebrating the wins?
Well, I've had a great week, but yesterday was a push day. I went 2-2-1. So not bad, not good, but I started watching the Marquette game, and that's the one that made me drink. Marquette absolutely just stunk up the entire court yesterday. Absolutely disgusting loss.
How many did they have in the first half there, Megan?
14.
Oh,
it's like an 8th grade game.
It was literally awful. Like I forgot to put them on my card, and then as soon as I put my card, I was like, "Oh, got to go put Marquette." So I went, "Oh God, sorry guys, forgot Marquette." And then I was like, "Man, if only I just would have went with what I had already typed." But I'm an idiot.
Then you get accused of the chase game. I saw people going after you like you were chasing. It's like, no, I just forgot my card. And it's like, well, I shouldn't have put it on there at all.
Exactly. It's like, I literally, I put my card out, and not even within 3 seconds, I put that out. And it's like, how am I chasing when I haven't even hit a bet yet? Well, actually, I hit one because I took Northern Colorado, and that started at 10 in the morning.
There you go.
So that one went just fine.
Okay, so tell me about what is the strategy for this time of the year, because it's now getting to a point starting today where you could bet college basketball all day if you want.
Exactly. My strategy, what I like to do personally, is I like to spread my games out. I don't, unless it's like I really like the games, I'm not going to have 3 games going at one time, because that's just a recipe for a disaster for my brain. But as far as capping goes, I cap normally, but then if a team is hot, I'm not ignoring that right now. I feel like college sports, especially when kids are feeling it, they are absolutely feeling it. Just like yesterday, Georgetown, I expected Marquette. I mean, look, they did come back the second half, but I think the score ended up, I think Georgetown ended up winning by 18, something ridiculously insane, but there was no stopping that team. They were absolutely on fire. Anything that they touched pretty much turned to gold. So that's one thing that I add into my normal handicap around this time, is just riding the hot hand.
You gave us Illinois 2 weeks ago, and you want to talk about hot. The week you gave them to us, they traveled into Michigan, beat Michigan, then went to Ohio State and beat the Buckeyes on their floor. Any more teams you got us that we should look out for this weekend?
Well, today they're weighing a lot of points, I think 9.5. But I've been telling people to watch out for Georgia Tech. I think they're a super gritty team. I think that's another one that could just catch lightning in a bottle. I believe their chances to win the whole tournament are like plus 20,000. So obviously there's some value there. I don't think they're going to win. Obviously, I took the Illini at the 16-1 to win. I think that's down to 1,200. So that's moving in my direction, obviously. But yeah, I really think that Georgia Tech is one to watch. I'm trying to think of. And I think Purdue could be a sneaky team too.
You watching the SEC basketball tournament? Anybody stick out there?
I was looking at it. I don't know. I think Mizzou is ultimately the better team. It's hard not to catch the 5.5 with Georgia there. I think that's what the line's at right now. But that's just SEC play this year has been so inconsistent, and I honestly have not bet on very much SEC basketball. I've watched it, I've enjoyed it, but it's just not something that has been profitable. So as far as that goes, I'm staying away from that game. But if I had to, I'd probably take Mizzou there.
What was the Pat McAfee experience like?
Oh, that was so much fun. Him and the guys, such a good time. He came on my show, and I was able to go on Hammer Don with them and talk some bets. I actually gave out. I went on to the show the day before. I had a 3-0 run. Went to the show, gave out 4 picks, and those all hit. So I was on a nice little 7-0 run over 2 days while talking to McAfee.
I mean, good Lord. You and Mintz over the last couple of weeks. Have you been keeping up with Mintz?
And what?
Have you been keeping up with Mintz?
Yeah. Me and Mintz, I think he had a 0-3 day. Yeah, his volume is much bigger than mine, though, because I feel like over there, and it's a sports book that I will not name because it is not my sports book.
Excellent business there.
He's been killing it. He's had to put out a lot more volume for content. People know that I have kids and I can't put out like 127 games and actually like really cap them. But he's been killing it. Always shout out to Mintz. He's a Destroyer 2020, 21, 22. It's been his, like the last year and a half. It's just been his year, and I'm super happy for him, and I'm super proud of him, especially for not drinking and keeping up with his health and all that. Like I got to give it to him. He's done a fantastic job, and he's just a great guy. Yeah, the man's life right now is just going through changes all over the place, whether it's places to live or he's shedding 100 pounds in his sobriety and in his running over the last year. I understand that you'll be coming on Whitney Bro's show on the Gridiron Show on Monday, where she is highlighting women and some people making a difference in the community, both from the sports world and from the business world. We're looking forward to hearing you there. Tell our listeners how to keep up with what you have going on, because I think everybody needs to be following and keeping up with your plays right now, especially in college basketball season. As we said, you'll be playing all day. Absolutely. Yeah, Whitney and Abby were awesome. Can't wait for that to come out. I tried to give my best beginner's gambling advice, but I'm definitely I like to write things down. Like I'm a visual learner, and I also have to show people visually to help them learn. So I tried my best to teach the basics there. And of course, you can find me on Twitter at Megan Makin Money. That's a Makin. I didn't have room for a G. And of course, real quick, I'll throw out some picks for you guys. Riding the hot hand with Syracuse versus Virginia today. I got them at they're at +5. I haven't put it in yet because I think it might go back to 5.5, and I would like that up there.
That's a big number.
It is, and Syracuse has been super hot, and they are top 3 in field goal percentage, and Virginia is not good at defending the 3. So I just feel like if we are catching points with a team that is absolutely on fire right now, that's the way to go. I took Buffalo over Miami, Ohio today. I believe that line is -7. That seems like a lot, but Miami, Ohio is literally the smallest team in the country, listed at 341, whereas Buffalo is at 147. And the Bulls are an excellent rebounding team, so that just makes sense. Tall people who are also good at rebounding against a short team, they're going to absolutely dominate the glass. I like laying that many points there. Next, I've been loving Weber State. I've been all over them. They are a covering machine. This team they're playing Montana State. They don't match up well. I believe Weber State's averaging like 81.8 points per game, and their D only allows like 69. So that one looks like a good one too. And then this one, because they screwed me so bad yesterday. Well, really Marquette screwed me, but Georgetown just absolutely hammered Marquette. That's another hot team that I'm riding. They're confident. I know they're playing Villanova. Villanova obviously is a different monster, but they're without their two leading scorers in Gillespie and Moore. They probably do have some depth, but again, I think Georgetown's catching 8 after beating Marquette by almost 18 yesterday. So that just seems to make sense to me. I know it's Villanova; it could bite me in the behind, but I like Ewing and the Hoyas here today.
Beautiful. Keep up with Megan Makin Money. You know where to find her. She is on Twitter. She's all over social media. You can find her at Megan Makin Money to keep up with the picks. Next trip into Baton Rouge and partying with Jimmy Ott, give your boy a call.
Oh, I sure will.
Talk to you soon.
That sounds great. Bye, guys. Have a great day.
All right, there she is, Megan Makin Money, stopping by here on this Thursday here as we talk about tournament schedule and conference tournaments as they get going here all over the country. And Megan with a couple of plays there as she stops in here at the Jordy Culotta Show every Thursday. We're going to talk a little bit more college football coming up here with Cole Cubelic as he'll stop by. But remember, daily, we are brought to you by Johnson and Spillers, Johnson and Spillers Dentistry. You can find Dr. Chad Spillers and Dr. Johnson in 2 locations, whether it's in Gonzales or in Baton Rouge. In Baton Rouge on Perkins Road in between Segan and Bluebonnet, or next time you are out in Gonzales, right around Prepara Boulevard, stop in and see Dr. Johnson and Dr. Spillers at their spot at Johnson and Spillers Dentistry. Pediatric dentistry, they can help you with teeth whitening. They can even help you with Botox. Stop in and see them. Great selections. They're all online at johnsonandspillers.com. They're also all over social media. Find them on Facebook. Find them on Instagram. Keep up with what's happening at Johnson and Spillers Dentistry as they keep our teeth white and our smile looking great here over at the Jordy Culotta Show. We will talk to Cole Cubelic here. Let's go ahead and link up with Cole here as he is down, obviously, ready for 3-man front today. As we'll talk to Cole about a little bit about college basketball. As he's been riding high on the Tide. Good morning, sir. We are live. How are you?
Hey, doing great. How are you guys?
Nice. The Cubelic family household is moving around this morning.
rocking.
You in the kitchen? You in the family room? What's happening over there?
No, we were in the kitchen. Just stepped into the office, basement, as my son would like to call it.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm with you. We're good.
Okay, so real quick, I know that you've been high on this Alabama basketball team, and I've been keeping up with your tweets before we get into college football and all this stuff. How do you feel about this conference tournament, SEC college basketball tournament going into Nashville today? Round 1 started last night, but today just a ton of basketball games that crank up early this morning. I love today. I love this time of the year.
Today is an unbelievable day. I want to rewind for just a moment, though.
Yes, sir.
You said you've seen my basketball tweets and that you're a fan. I've had multiple people text me and be like, "Hey, man, enough with the basketball stuff. Like, we don't follow you for basketball." I'm like, hold on. I mean, I'm just sharing information. Like, I do prep for the show no matter what. So if I find some interesting information, like, I'm going to share it. Like, I mean, I don't understand. So you're saying keep the basketball stuff going?
Absolutely, I say keep the basketball tweets coming. You don't have to. You're not cornered, Cole. I mean, you're not secluded in one area of the store, my man. You could travel. I love the tweets, man. Keep them coming.
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Some expansion here,
Please.
Back to today, 57 conference tournament elimination games, 16 ranked teams in action, 3 ranked matchups today. Starts at 10:30, so it's going to be an awesome day of basketball. But as far as the SEC tournament is concerned, I honestly think it's a 2-team race, Jordy. I think Arkansas and Alabama are clearly the 2 best teams in the league. I think there have been moments in time that I could have convinced myself that LSU would go on a run and win this thing. Maybe Florida could. Halfway through the season, we were debating Missouri or Alabama, who had the better chance to go win the SEC tournament. Missouri's pretty much eliminated themselves from that contender status, I believe. Tennessee can't score enough to be able to go. I mean, Tennessee can't score. LSU doesn't seem to want to defend the majority of the time. Florida's just too inconsistent, probably relies on the three a little bit too much. Kentucky hadn't found themselves all year. I think Ole Miss has got great guard play. I think Devontae Shuler could probably be a guy that takes over a couple games, but can they go through there? And here's the other thing. A lot of times at this point we say, because we look at Kermit Davis, and the guy's got legitimate tournament experience, great postseason resume. Does that even matter this year? This thing is so different, so weird, so odd. How much of a difference does it make? And by the way, most SEC coaches now do have legitimate postseason experience, where 4 or 5 years ago we would be talking about how one or two guys had a distinct advantage because of that. So I give the edge to Arkansas right now. I think they're a team that can alter their lineup a little bit more than what Alabama can. I think they can play big, and I think that some of their bigs can be a problem. We know they got Moses Moody in the backcourt who can be problematic and is going to be able to score and do some things. But if there was a guy that I would point to, we know what Alabama is. We know what Herb Jones does, SEC Player of the Year. We know Petty's going to be a guy that's dangerous from the outside. They're going to rebound. They're going to be physical. They're going to get up and down the floor in transition. All those things are great. But the guy to me in this tournament is Jalen Williams at Arkansas. A 6'10" freshman who can handle the ball a little bit. And I think he is somebody who can be a facilitator. I think he can be an extra rim protector. I mean, they can go 6'10", 7'3" in that lineup if they want to at any point in time. So I think the different options that Arkansas has to play different styles will benefit them in this tournament. I'd actually put them a little bit ahead of Alabama as the favorite heading into today.
Wow. People around
That's
here,
my opinion.
People around here and people around the conference and just reading believe that Nate Oates is building somewhat or laying the groundwork for a potential powerhouse of a program. You're close to it, and you've been following it. What do you see in Oates, and what do you believe the future of that program holds?
It is very difficult to find things about Nate Oates that you won't like. I mean, it's almost impossible. And I mean, you go through the way that he handles his team. You go through the message that he consistently delivers to his team. You look at the kind of effort that they play with, especially compared to some of the same guys on that roster the last few years and how they played. It's hard not to like him, Jordy. It really is. I mean, we can go back to the beginning of the year when he's calling out Coach K publicly for, saying, hey, if he'd have won those games, he probably wouldn't have a problem being played. I mean, I think I personally fell in love with Nate Oates at that moment in time right there, and probably would never have another bad thing to say about him. So, powerhouse, I don't know. But that's so difficult in basketball because I feel like you have to get guys every single year. Like, it's not like football where you can miss a class or two, or you can have a class that's off. It's like basketball because those guys just don't seem to come back very much. You have to pretty much reload on a very consistent basis. And I think he can do it. And I think he's shown that, doing it with other people's players and crediting those other people for their players, by the way, not taking credit himself. Just another reason to like him. But, Greg Byrne had his eye on him for a long time, and it's going to be a big home run for him because it was a guy that not a lot of people had on their radar, and it's going to look like a magnificent hire for the next few years. I don't think there's any doubt.
Cole Cubelic joining us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. You can catch Cole on the SEC Network. He's the host of Three Man Front, which is one of the best radio shows in our country covering SEC football. And as far as college football analysts go, you will not find any better at the trade than Cubelic. Let's get to some college football storylines. What was your first hit of feeling when you saw the first reports from LSU's Hush Blackwell report on Les Miles?
Surprise. Just because, I don't know what you guys knew there. I just had no idea. I didn't know that some of those things were going on, were taking place. And Les just always came across as, such a lovable guy, somebody that was easy to root for. Even if you didn't really like LSU, you kind of didn't mind him winning, whether it was, some of the chances that he took or, some of the things, the ball seeming to bounce his way at times when you had no idea why he was calling a certain play or running a certain play, and just the way he dealt with the media, the clap, the hat, the whole thing. He seemed like somebody that was easy to get on board with and root for. And then this is the SEC. We are we are usually our own private detectives inside of each and every one of our towns, just because we're dying to get that information out. To think that something that big had not come out, had not leaked, that a lot of people, at least regionally, much less nationally, didn't know about it. I was just surprised, man. I really was. It's unfortunate. Didn't like to see it, hate it for his family, but it's something that just can't take place. I mean, you can't allow it to happen.
How bad, or I don't want to say bad, where is the starting spot for Kansas football when they're looking in this coaching search? I mean, is this the worst job in the sport right now?
We're subbing the Power Five. I mean, New Mexico State lost to Charleston State a couple weeks ago, so let's not pretend like that one's not going to be at the top of the list. I think there are a lot of ways to sort of dissect the difficulties that come with this job. Now, let's just start with this. I'll throw some numbers at you. Since 2010, they've won 9 Power 5 games. They've lost 11 Group of 5 games. They have 3 losses to FCS teams. They have 3 winless seasons. They haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver. They haven't had a 3,000-yard passer. They've had 1 2,000-yard passer. They've had 1 player rush for 1,000 yards. He did it in 2 seasons. No player has had 10 rushing touchdowns in a season, and no player has 10 receiving touchdowns in a season. I think you just start with that, and you look at the fact that the lack of success against real opponents, having lost to opponents that you probably should not lose to on a regular basis, and then the fact that where it is geographically adds an extra challenge. If it were me, I think there's 2 directions that you go here. You find a guy that is probably a little bit past the age for most Power 5 teams to take a flyer on, maybe a guy like a Willie Fritz. I think Lance Leopold is still in that realm where he could probably land a Power 5 job that's a little bit ahead of Kansas in the next year or two, because his name, keep in mind, his name is being tossed around for Central Florida. I think some people brought his name up for Tennessee. He's done a great job at Buffalo. You find somebody like that, or you find the up-and-comer, but like similar to a Joe Brady type guy who is not ready to be a head coach, who has not been a head coach, but you just believe in his innovation, his creativity, his ability to do things in a different way to give you advantages. And I'll tell you what's really cool about it, Jordy, is I've seen, I'm doing Stanford football home games for ESPN Plus. So I've studied Mercer, Furman, I've studied Southern Illinois, I've studied a lot of these FCS teams, and I watched a lot of North Dakota State because they're fun to watch. It's incredible how innovative some of these offenses are, especially like you go look at what Mercer's doing, what Furman's doing. You go look at what Wofford's doing, where they take some of the triple option stuff, but yet they add spread principles. They're not just running wing T. They're not just running triple option anymore. They're not just running veer, but they're mixing and matching all of that, which I think Coach Monken at Army is a kind of a name to keep an eye on, because number one, he's put his name in the mix for seemingly every job that's come up in the last 2 years. I mean, he was mentioned for South Carolina. He was mentioned for UCF. He interviewed for Vanderbilt. He was mentioned for Illinois. He said he wanted Illinois. I mean, the guy obviously just wants to get out of town. But I know about the plan that he put in place to Vanderbilt, and it was not to go in and run the triple option. It was kind of that Jamie Chadwell plan at Coastal Carolina, where we're going to have legitimate triple option principles, but we're going to be able to throw the ball. We're going to add either some West Coast, some spread, some air raid, whatever, and we're going to have an offense that people have not seen. I think something like that could be super beneficial. And the next thing that I would basically force my guy to do, or force him to have in his game plan when he took over, would be win through the portal. Because it's been proven that Kansas can't recruit traditionally. Right. It's not going to happen. You're not going to win that way. And with what the portal is now, you can go get legitimate Power 5 experience, legitimate Power 5 size, speed, ability. Now, they might not start at LSU. They might not start at Alabama. They might even start at Tennessee or South Carolina. But you don't need those guys. You just need guys that are better than what you've been getting at Kansas. And you can find a lot of them there that are going to be ready to go right now. We've always heard you got to go in Independence. You got to go win Butler. You got to go win all those Kansas community colleges and junior colleges. Well, I would still try to win some of those battles, but my emphasis would be on the portal and trying to win there and sort of making that my mindset. I mean, we've seen what happened at Texas State. I mean, my guy down there didn't sign a high school recruit this year. He's going all portal. Spavital's, taking a completely different approach. So I think those are some of the ways that you could find someone to go in and maybe be competitive, But man, I can't remember the last time they were. I mean, they had Reesing and Mangino, and that was like 08, 09. And then before that, it was like, Tony Sands when I was like a freshman in high school. I mean, there's not a lot of memories of Kansas football being relevant, so you're going to have to do it a different way.
Cole Cubelic joining us here, Jordy Culotta Show. Ogeron had the band out last night, and they were traveling with the coach's caravan, and they were talking a lot of football, a lot of spring as the Tigers get on the field on March 15th. A lot of the conversation with Jake Peets and DJ Mangles on that offensive side is obviously centered around quarterback. It's as healthy as a quarterback room that LSU has had, I don't know, Cole, since maybe Jamarcus Flynn and Ryan Perilou in 2006. Do you have an odds-on favorite when you look at this quarterback room with Miles Brennan, TJ Finley, and Max Johnson? And what are some of the storylines you're looking at as LSU hits the field on Monday?
I mean, for me, it's Max Johnson. I felt pretty good about some of what Miles Brennan was doing. I thought he looked good early on. It's nothing against him, but I just think you get a guy who maybe has a little bit more on the arm. You get a guy who is a little bit bigger. His mobility is underrated. The thing that stuck to me, and I think I was on with you kind of mid-season last year, and we kind of went back and forth about this, and I was like, guys, when this left-handed kid gets in, like the pocket presence just exudes from him. He gets it. He understands where to be, where to go, when to get it out. And I understand TJ Finley is loaded with athletic ability and just a ton of talent. But when Max would come in, I told you guys back then, I was like, I see something different. Like, why is he not the guy? I feel like he needs to be the guy. And I don't think that's going to change. You look at the genes, you look at the bloodlines, you look at the conversations he's going to be able to have. I know he's a super competitor, and I think he's tough too, because I saw him take a couple hits. But I don't know how it's not going to be him, man. I really don't. Unless there is some sort of an issue with grasping whatever is new about the offense, I don't see how it's not Max Johnson. That's just my opinion. And then I think the other question for me is, does there need to be sort of a traditional LSU running back for this offense to go? Because we're just used to seeing that guy. Let's be honest. Now, I'll be first to admit that 2 years ago, I think I also went on with you and said, I don't think they have that guy, and that's a big concern of mine, and he ends up coming off the board in the first round. Yeah. So that's not that none of these guys can turn into that, but we're not going into the season, in my opinion, of having a traditional, that dude at running back for LSU. And I don't know if they even need it. I mean, you got a kid that's got more receiving yards in the SEC game in the history of the entire league. Yeah. You got another guy in Dre Jenkins that I really thought was going to have a breakout year after seeing him through a couple of games last year. I think there's some young talent there that they like. I mean, Coy Moore did some great things. I know they love him. So you don't have any problems out there. I think the offensive line is going to be solid. You got a ton of experience back at center, one of the best guards in the league. You got a ton of experience back at tackle. So even if it's not a dominant group, I think it can absolutely be enough to allow this group to go out and be successful. But I want to know what the running back situation is going to be, and then just what exactly the offense is going to look like.
You can hit my guy Cole Cubelic on Twitter. He's easy to find, at Cole Cubelic. You can follow him everywhere. He's on ESPN. He's on the SEC Network. You heard him saying he was calling Stanford football for ESPN+. He was also working with the XFL. Final one, we'll get you out of here, Cole. Always appreciate your time. CFL, Canadian Football League, and the XFL, who you worked for last season in their inaugural year, or comeback year, said that they're going to collaborate. This is very early on in discussions. I just asked you, as somebody that has seen this product up close, can this save minor league football?
I don't know if this can. Mm-hmm. I thought The Rock and his business group could, because I think you were a believer like I was at the end. Keep in mind, this was 1 year ago right now that we were talking about the XFL. And it's funny because one of my co-hosts on Jocks in Birmingham, when we were talking about the XFL, he goes, yeah, a couple of seasons ago. I said, hold on. I said, I just got a Facebook 1 year ago update when I was in LA, calling a game against Dallas. It feels like 5 years ago, but this was 1 year ago that we were having these games, talking about these games. And I think you believe, like I did, Jordy, that thing had some sustainability. People were getting on board with it. People liked it. The people who latched on early, a couple of them walked away, but a lot of them were sticking around. And there were a couple of guys like a PJ Walker at Houston that people wanted to see kind of go deep. People wanted to see Jordan Ta'amu and that St. Louis team. What were they going to be able to go do? So I think some of the rule changes people adapted to and really liked right off the jump. People thought the kickoff stuff was going to be hokey, but then when you saw it, you were like, holy hell, this makes sense.
Yeah,
why are we not doing this everywhere?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. And then the lack of kicking, I think actually a lot of people had an appetite for that and enjoyed that. So I don't have any idea exactly what this collaboration could be. I don't know how it would work. I don't know. I mean, I saw one article I read said something about sharing resources. I don't even know. Are you sharing pads and helmets, or like practice equipment? I don't even know what that means. But if this is a way, like you said, to find some sort of sustainability with a spring league, because there's an appetite for it.
Yep.
And I think a big discussion that we're going to have moving forward is going to be FCS. Do we leave it where it is? Because nobody's talking about Lindsey Scott Jr. if this is in the fall. Mm-hmm. But all of a sudden, he's become the Malik Willis of this spring season. And people should be talking about him because he's shredding it down there at Nichols.
Yeah.
Nobody's paying attention. We got Sanford head coach on every week. He even said it on our show last week. You guys aren't having me on in the fall. No way. Yeah, you're not even talking about what the score was of our game. But you'll talk about it now.
Yeah, we're talking to Frank Wilson every week here at McNeese. It's same thing. It's given him great exposure in the same sense.
The benefits are going to outweigh the minuses on this deal. Mm-hmm. And I understand people want football in the fall, and the whole NFL discussion is going to come up, but you're going to be talking about literally a handful of guys. I mean, you've got a safety at North Dakota State, you've got a tight end at Jacksonville State. I mean, you got a couple of guys here and there that may be some sort of an issue with. And then I think you have another problem with D1 transfers down. You would have to have a rule that would say, okay, if you just played in the fall, you have to have X amount of days or months off before you can put pads on again. You can't play in the fall and then come play a spring season. That's not going to happen. But as far as everything else is concerned, I absolutely think it would be the best business decision.
You were about 2,500 clicks on your pinned tweet of 300,000 views of your wife, Catherine, just body bagging you in the gravity challenge. Do you think that there is a male on this earth that could win that competition?
Oh, I'm absolutely sure that there's some sort of like yoga instructor or, fitness guru, like plank champion that could probably do it. But for me, a guy that's had 3 back surgeries and probably going to require more, that just wasn't happening for me. I mean, I wasn't even trying to prove
breaks
that I
off of a ship, bro. I mean,
yeah, I think for me, it was proving like, how much could I break the fall on the way down, which, as you can tell, wasn't very much. But,
thank God Baby Cube got out of the way, bro. Baby Cube almost got crushed.
Yeah, she made a nice save on that one.
It was like the ESPN Columbia host. They got hit by the television.
That dude got hit hard.
Good Lord. I mean, he got whacked. We're playing it for our viewers here on our YouTube station. We always appreciate you playing along and for your time, man. Thank you for the information. We'll talk again soon.
Hey, look forward to doing it again soon.
Yes, sir. There he is, Cole Cubelic, checking in this morning from Alabama. That's a great shot there. That's still on Cole and his family there. Daily, we're brought to you by Falaya. Remember our friend over at Falaya Real Estate, Barrett Blondo. We urge you to find out what he's got going on, because it's very similar to what we're doing here, where we're trying to change what's going on in media, or just the way that it's at least perceived. Barrett Blondo is doing that with real estate, especially in our area, man. If you're following him on social media, which I urge you to do, he's everywhere, you will see success story after success story after success story. If you're looking to sell your house this spring and you're thinking about for sale by owner, then you got to check out what Blondo's got going on over at Falaya. Listing plans start at $399. You can sell your house by yourself. You can save thousands today by logging on to Falaya.com. Just think of the suffix of a Falaya. Falaya.com, Falaya.com, or you can download the app today at your Apple and Android stores. Looking forward to our next guest, as we are here at the undisclosed location, and Rachel Baribeau is a good friend, is in town. She is addressing LSU athletics. She's been here for the past couple of days and will be here through the weekend. We'll talk to her about her message as she continues to change the narrative at college campuses and around the country. She will stop in with us next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, brought to you every day by Go Chevrolet. So if you got to get in touch with our guy, Bradley Lynch, over at AdvantaClean, it's not going to be a good day for you. But the good news is if you give him a call at 369-5228, he'll take care of everything. Water, fire, mold. If you feel water on the carpet when you wake up, if you smell fire, if you see mold, get in touch with Bradley Lynch over at AdvantaClean, online at AdvantaClean.com. Call him locally, 369-5228 with a 225 area code. He'll take care of everything. From dealing with the insurance company to coming over, diagnosing the problem, he'll be there within that day. Online at AdvantaClean.com. Water, fire, mold. AdvantaClean.com and our good friend Bradley Lynch, 369-5228. So if you got to get in touch with our guy, Bradley Lynch, over at Advantage, can you be assured that the air and surfaces in your home are clean, sanitized, and safe for you and your entire family? You can now by logging on to Valera.com/Jordy Culotta, where you, your home, your office, your family can be protected 24/7 with active pure technology. This NASA-based science has proven 99.9% reduction of airborne SARS-2 and COVID-19 virus in just 3 minutes. Log on now to Valera.com/Jordy Culotta.
Have a late night and can't make it for the Jordy Culotta show at 7 a.m.? No worries. Catch us on demand on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast.
Welcome back in here to the Jordy Culotta Show. Appreciate Cole Cubelic for stopping by, dropping his knowledge on everything college football, SEC basketball tournament, which got going last night. LSU waiting for the winner of Ole Miss and South Carolina. That game will be tonight, and then LSU will play the winner tomorrow night in the late game. As we are joined now in the undisclosed location by my good friend, Rachel Baribeau, who is doing a lot of exciting stuff. I guess the excitement is still there, but it's the freshness. I mean, this has been going on now for what, 2.5, 3 years almost.
4.5. Isn't that insane? Like insanity since
nuts.
August of 2016.
Wow.
Insane.
I still remember SEC Media Days down in Birmingham, which is always a fantastic event. And you and I would do our regular lunch, dinner, drink, wherever we would do. And then you would have you would bring all of the female media members into that ballroom, and you would kind of go through, I guess, what is the groundwork for what you're doing now?
Yeah, listen, I changing the narrative, whether it's with athletes or whether it's with female reporters, whatever it may be, that was just really born of when I was coming up in the media a couple of years ago. Man, there wasn't a ton of females that wanted to help other females and wanted to network and wanted to do those things. And so it was very neat for me to be able to help bring women together and mentor women.
What has the 4.5-year run, there has been so many stories, there's been so many images that has come out. What has been the biggest lesson that you've learned from it? Like, what is your biggest takeaway?
That's
because you're the teacher.
Yeah, right. To never stop learning. So this is cool for LSU fans. I think you'll appreciate this. I gave 4 talks in the past 2 days. So Tuesday night was women's athletics, all women's athletics. It was the first time that the women had gathered, or the athletes had gathered together.
All together, under one roof.
Since the pandemic started. Then it was
so over a year.
Yeah. So then it was male athletes minus basketball, football, and baseball. And then it was basketball yesterday, then football last night. And every single one, this is the lesson, every single one of those talks were different because every single one with what's going on LSU's campus, males and females, with LSU was getting ready to get on an airplane to go to the SEC tournament. Yep. You don't want anything too heavy. For that, I wanted to inject something in their veins and make them want to run through a wall. So the lesson for me is if I'm stagnant, if I'm not learning, if I'm not growing, if I'm not working on myself, then the messages become stagnant. And why would somebody want to have me back? Like LSU has me back over and over again, or Minnesota, or any of these schools that do. And so, the lesson for me is I got to stay fresh. I got to be learning. So basketball got something that football didn't get, and the Queens got something that the males, like every single one of those messages were different. And if I'm not learning, if I'm resting on my laurels, man, this thing dies.
What do you make of what's going on in LSU? What is from your point of view? You and I spoke about this right where kind of when it was. What's your feeling about where LSU sits?
Whew. Yeah. I spent the last 2 days too with Stephanie, the deputy AD as well, and she addressed each group of athletes before I addressed them, and she kept using the word institutional betrayal. Yeah, and we know we failed you. We know you're angry. And we are learning, and we're going to do it differently, and we're sorry. And please give us an opportunity to make this right and to grow from it. And what I told them was, you have every right to be angry. And I've been angry at times in my life, and it served me at certain points in my life, but it never served me long term. And so what you can do right now is turn that anger into something that is that can be channeled for something positive. So you can change a narrative on this campus. If you're getting lumped in, there's certain athletes on this campus that are getting demonized and lumped in, and they didn't do anything wrong and they're pissed off about it. I said, you can be pissed off about it, but you could also take that and channel it to be the king that you're supposed to be and change a narrative on this campus so that it never happens again on this campus. Because a king wouldn't touch a female, hurt a female, but he also wouldn't let anybody around him do it. And for the women, the message, Jordy, was really, it may be you that have been assaulted. It may be a friend that's been assaulted, but we need you to be able to hold space for them, to be bold enough to ask for help if you've been assaulted. And so there's a lot of hurt, and I say frayed edges. It's like a wire that's got frayed edges, and there's a lot of that right now.
Does your work stop with the athletes, or does this go into the administration? Does this go to the executive committee?
It hasn't yet, but I sure would love it to.
Yeah.
Once things are kind of, they give it a couple of weeks. I think right now, I'd say the fire is burning. Like if I were to give it an analogy, the fire is burning very hot right now. But I would love that, and they did without giving away anything too secret that we had meetings about. They did talk about wanting to continue work into April and more activism. I said, listen, you can put a sticker here and you can do this here. Yeah. And I said, work with me. Yeah. I've been on this campus 3-4 times. These athletes know me. I know their mamas, their daddies, the fans. I know their heartbreak. I know their happiness. I know them. Like, don't just put a sticker on a helmet and say I'm not saying that's what they're doing,
sure,
but they want to do more in April. And I said, work with me. Let's craft some messages. Let's do some things. Let's try to continue to change a narrative.
How much have you done this, not this specific scenario around the country, but how much have you seen where institutions need a total overhaul, or they need a total just implementation of this of this what is this, are these rules, are these what is, how do you title this the correct way without disrespecting it?
First of all, I don't know necessarily how you title it, but I would say this, and I've said this to a couple of people. I somehow have been the person, Jordy, that has gone to Bennett Baylor when Matt Rule took over. Right. I was the person that was at Ohio State 48 hours after the two players were accused of rape. I am here now. And I was talking to somebody on a call yesterday, and they were saying that well, does that not scare people that you're there? You're the kind of person, the fireman, you're there. And I said, no. 80% of the work we do is preventative. But I'm also not afraid to go walk straight into the fire when things are not good and say, I can help. I'm not the answer because I don't have that much ego, and I know I'm not that important, but I can help. I know what I teach and what I do can help. And so I don't know what you call this, but I think the simplest thing you call it is an absolute failure that hurt a lot of people.
Yeah. Rachel Baribeau joining us here, and she is in the undisclosed location with us here on this beautiful Thursday morning in South Louisiana as we talk about some of her messages that she has spent over the last 72 hours with the LSU athletic department. But this is what she does as she travels around college campus to college campus from, really one corner of our country to the next, changing the narrative. And really this started just over conversations. I think the easiest way to describe this is just communication, just talking, right?
Yeah. It started as purpose, passion, platform. Who are you away from the field? You are more, or track or meet or pool or whatever it is. You're more than an athlete. And then my own experience with domestic violence. And then that was in August of 2016. And then it grew out to this idea that there's a king or queen or royalty inside of every one of us. And then also it started to encompass interpersonal relationships. I recognized I was with LSU football last night. And Coach O told me outside, I was like, what do you want to, I can talk about this, and this. And he was like, let's talk about girls and women and relating. So we talked about girls and women and dating, how to tell somebody you don't like them or you're not going to. I said, how about we, instead of saying, I'll call you when you have zero interest in calling or ever, let's think about another thing to say. I said, because half of the things that go on, hurt feelings, keyed cars, and I'm not saying that's okay, but it's no communication, right? Or you say you want a relationship and you really don't want a relationship, and then you have relations and, there's all those things. So then it started to encompass interpersonal relationships, Jordy. And then, after losing my mom and having a dark night of the soul where I thought about taking my own life, I began to talk about self-care and mental health. And that has blown up, the need for that with the pandemic, with isolation, with depression, with suicide rates through the roof, with our normal being ripped out from underneath us a year ago, almost to the day. And so there's a lot of things we cover now, and it's really just all falls underneath this umbrella, being a king, a queen, or royal.
How has this message changed? How has this evolved since you started?
Yeah, I would definitely say the movement towards mental health and self-care. I sat with a group of athletes on Tuesday night and even last night, and I asked them to raise their hand if they had engaged in any sort of self-care this week. Not many raised their hand. Then I asked, do you even know what self-care feeds your soul? Do you even know what self-care means? Like, do you even know what to do to feel? And half of them, and I loved them for this, more than half raised their hand, they had no idea.
Yeah.
And it has blown my mind, and it's cemented the need for what I do when a young man says, I have no idea what self-care is. Because I'll tell you this, I say this in a lot of my talks, I'm not mad at your granddaddy. This is for men. And I ain't mad at your granddaddy's granddaddy. Or your granddaddy's granddaddy's granddaddy. But there's an idea with men that is so false and so dangerous, and it's been passed down, and it's killing men across the country, either a slow death inside or a literal death. And it's this idea that masculinity means you got to man up, shut up, put some dirt on it, keep moving, don't show emotion. And so men are holding so much inside. And so for me, it's been the honor of my freaking life to teach men how to ask for help, how to get therapy, that's actually strong. It's been nothing short of miraculous, and gotten so many messages on it too.
I bet. Because a lot of the images that I see, whether it's from people that are inside the room with you or in the room with you, is just a breakdown mode. Like just people just kind of hugging. Yeah. I mean, heads on your shoulder. Yes. I mean, you can see that people are just truly relieved to tell it, talk it, speak it, unload it, get it out. Right?
We call it funky junk in the movement. Yeah. The other thing, the way to describe it is, I say, you go through childhood and you got a backpack on, and maybe your dad and mom fought, so you put a brick in the backpack. And then maybe you go to high school and you were bullied. Another brick in the backpack goes in there. And then you go to college and you got a learning disability, another brick in the backpack. And then maybe you go through a breakup and you got another brick in the backpack. And all of a sudden you come to college, and not to mention just the rest of your life, and you got a lot of bricks in your backpack weighing you down. And what I beg them to do is to put the backpack down, take the bricks out of the backpack, because it will weigh you down. It'll kill you. And I tell coaches, man, don't you think that a player is going to run faster, watch film better, be better in the classroom, be better relationally if he doesn't have these bricks in the backpack? And we also talk about in the movement, this is a really powerful one that I learned after, and you know about what happened, and it broke your heart when I told you about contemplating taking my own life. And it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't want to burden anybody, Jordy. And I remember you even said, Mama, like, what? Like, call me anytime. Like, all my people were like, call me anytime. And so what I was taught after that is every person needs to have 3 people, and this is for everybody that's watching your show. Every person in the world needs to have 3 people they can call in a time of need. Depression, anxiety, just a time of need. And those 3 people need to know that they're your people. They'll pick up at 3 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock at night. And if you get to the 4th person and no one's picked up, the 4th person is a crisis hotline. And so I got a message after Tuesday night, and one of my gals, my queen, said, blew my mind. She said, thank you for that. She said, I've already called my 3 people and I've let them know.
Yeah.
Let them know.
I mean, I just thought in my head who my 3 people would be.
Let them know.
Yeah.
And that'll save a life.
For sure.
Because I didn't have my 3. I have more than 3 people, but when you're in a bad spot, your mind will lie to you and tell you that, no, you can't call them at 3 o'clock in the morning. This is too much. And I've been sharing this one line with people all over the country, and it's a really powerful one. And it's that people would rather share your burdens than carry your casket.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. It's the pointing at the drama, rather than helping the fallen. Yeah. C. Veal Jr. inside of the bunker says Rachel just helped half the listeners unpack their past in 5 minutes. I'm telling you, it's powerful stuff, man. It is happening across the country. It's happening on college campuses. I'd imagine that there are big churches that are paying attention to what's going on, to just the message. Changing the narrative. She is the founder, Rachel Baribeau. She's a great friend of mine. We're constantly going back and forth with ideas and thoughts, and very excited for you and what's happening for you personally, and getting married and everything that's going on in your life. And all of that, I think, kind of it all goes into to how you live every day. I mean, the vibes and the way that you think about just putting your energy out there, and she's done such a just tremendous job. Is there any more speculation? Is there any more pushback? Because I remember at the beginning, people were like, "This doesn't work. This isn't for real." But now you've got like big time college football coaches, big time university personnel calling you at all hours of the day to see when they can book you. I know that this has been like wildfire, but do you get any more? Is there any more pushback?
There are, and who'd have thunk it that you'd have an emotional support dog join you on your set this morning? He's been at all the talks, by the way.
He's great.
I brought him into all the talks. There's always going to be haters, and if you don't have haters, you're not doing anything. You're not doing it right, and you're not doing what you put on this earth to do. So there's always going to be haters, and that's completely fine. I do have to tell you, I thought you'd find this interesting. Yesterday, my heart was going through the roof, and it always does when I speak. But when I spoke to basketball yesterday, man,
powerful group, huh?
With Wade, and becoming friends with Faye, his mama and his daddy, and so they're in there, and I go in, and like I said, every one of the talks are different. But I go in, and first thing I said was, "This one's for Wade," and you could tell, like, a couple of the guys had heard me, a couple of guys had not. And what I was able to weave in, I thought this was really cool, was Field of Dreams. And I talked about how I went to the real Field of Dreams about 4 years ago, did this 10-hour detour, Jordy, and went there, and how special it was. And I played a clip of the movie, and I said, if you build it, they will come. If you build it, he will come. And so what I told him was, you built LSU basketball. Now they're coming. And, I mean, I got them jacked, and then I was like, and they're coming at the SEC tournament, and they're going to come at the next step. But then I was like, what are you building inside of you, man? If you build it, they will come. And they were like, yeah.
Ready to run through the wall.
That's what I wanted them to do.
No, I mean, but Will Wade tells me about your relationship with his program, and it's really kind of been since he got here.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
Yeah.
I mean, since he's been here, you've been around.
Yeah.
I know that Miss Faye, it was great for her to hear from you because I know that means so much to her. Thank you. It's great to see you. I'm
Congratulations
proud of
to you. I
Thank you.
love this. I'm
Thank
so
you.
proud of you.
Thank you very much.
My friend.
You leaving today?
Yeah, I am.
All right. Well, I hate that because we should have gone and grabbed some lunch or
Next
something.
time.
But we will do it next time. And remember to follow her. She's everywhere. She's at Rachel Baribeau on Twitter.
Yeah.
She's changing the narrative like we tell you about. And I love it. She's got her phone number on her Twitter account. It says you can text her right there in the biography. She ain't hiding from anybody. Ain't hiding from nobody. That's my girl, Rachel Baribeau, changing the narrative. Love you, proud of you. We'll see you soon. And when we come back, we'll close out the Jordy Culotta Show. Clean. It's not going to be a good day for you, but the good news is if you give him a call at 369-5228, he'll take care of everything. Water, fire, mold. If you feel water on the carpet when you wake up, if you smell fire, if you see mold, get in touch with Bradley Lynch over at AdvantaClean, online at AdvantaClean.com. Call him locally, 369-5228 with a 225 area code. He'll take care of everything. From dealing with the insurance company to coming over, diagnosing the problem, he'll be there within that day. Online at AdvantaClean.com. Water, fire, mold. AdvantaClean.com and our good friend Bradley Lynch. 369-5228. Go Chevrolet is under new management, but it's the same old familiar names that you know here from the area. Lee Carney and Nick Richard are up and running in LaPlace, Louisiana, and they want you to stop in today. But if you can't, they'll make it easy for you. They'll come to you. Log online to GoChevrolet.com. That's GEAUX Chevrolet.com. Go Chevrolet is conveniently located on Airline Highway in LaPlace, Louisiana. Shop all the inventory, whether it's new or pre-owned, at GoChevrolet.com. That's GEAUX Chevrolet.com. All right, welcome back into the Jordy Culotta Show. Appreciate all of the interaction here on this Thursday. Remember, like, share, comment on the post, as we always appreciate you sharing and keeping us interactive throughout the day. Remember, we're on social media, all of the content, great stuff. Rachel Baribeau inside of our studio here at the undisclosed location. We also talked to Cole Cubelic, and we heard from Coach Mark Slessinger in hour number one, as his University of New Orleans Privateers are set up for another tilt this afternoon in the Southland Tournament. All right, we're out today, as we will be on YouTube. Make sure you tell everybody about the YouTube station, Jordy Culotta Show 2.0, and many thanks to AdvantaClean. AdvantaClean, remember, if you water, fire, mold, if you see it, you smell it, you see it around the house, one call to Bradley Lynch, and just log online to AdvantaClean.com in Baton Rouge, and Lynch will get out here and he'll take care of all of the steps, from the call to the insurance company to the construction. One call, you're out of the way. Get in touch with AdvantaClean. They'll take care of it. For everybody here at the Jordy Culotta Show, appreciate you for interacting. Rachel Baribeau, changing the narrative. Make sure you follow her on social media. We're back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
Shout out Buddy Joe.
Buddy Joe, for real, man.
I love it.